This episode of In an Instant is powered by Wasabi. Get 15% off with promo code INSTANT. On this week's episode of In an Instant, I come to you from the Baker Snoqualmie National Forest in Washington State, simply basking in the glory of the Pacific Northwest, shooting none other than the Mint InstantKon SF70. This is the newest offering from Mint Camera, which promises to deliver the best of the best for the Instax Square format. I'm about to shoot some monochrome of this river or stream. I'm pretty sure it's a river. So let's get into it.
The kind of photography that would become part of the human being. Press a button and have the picture.
Welcome to In an Instant. My name is Ben, and right now I am at the base of Mount Hood in Oregon, and this is a little bit of a different review as we sit here talking about the Mint InstantKon SF70. The reason this review is a little bit different is because I already reviewed the Mint InstantKon RF70, which is the Instax wide version of this camera. And the cameras are very similar, so I figured instead of repeating the same in-studio segment, I would take the camera on location, mix it up a little bit, and talk about this camera in the field. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the company Mint Camera, they have made some incredible cameras for instant film. One of the things they're very much known for is their mods for the SX70 that make them manual with something they call the Time Machine. They also created a TLR style camera, the TL70 that shot Instax Mini, the Mint InstantKon RF70, like I said, which shoots Instax wide, and their latest offering is the SF70, which is sort of just a narrower version of the RF70. These cameras are highly sought after because they are a real effort to make a professional style rangefinder camera for instant film. They have incredible lenses that have glass elements. They can stop open at 5.6, which is really nice on instant film. It has rangefinder focusing, so you can get pretty precise with that. It's essentially the answer to the SX70 that Instax just doesn't have. The Instax format is very much devoid of these kinds of manual camera options that can really give you beautiful lensing and manual options. So that's what this camera is an answer to for Instax Square. So with the manual nature of this camera, there's a lot of experimenting you can do, and that is exactly what we're about to get into with my boys Forrest Burke and Abel Silva, where we took the SF70 and did something with it that we frankly can't take back.
Dear In an Instant viewer, you are now entering the solar plane.
All right, well, we are here in Seattle in Forrest Burke's lovely studio. I'm here with Abel Silva, and I figured today, while we have this Mint SF70, why don't we do something a little bit odd? What we're gonna do today is solarize each other, which sounds inappropriate, but it's actually very appropriate.
It is, yes.
Because it's so fun.
Yes.
And everything that's fun is appropriate, within reason. So, to explain a little bit about solarization, we'll show some examples here on the screen. This essentially inverts Instax images when you overexpose by a certain amount of stops. This is a discovery you made, Abel, and I'm very curious how you discovered it.
Yeah, I've been accidentally overexposed a picture with a flash during Polacon, and it was super weird just to seeing that there's a section of the picture that it was inverted in a negative. I think, we were around just thinking, brainstorming what can we do with this. We realized that if you really blast that flash, you can get some very cool results, and I think we shot probably like 8 portraits with that, and it's just really fun.
It was really fun and really, really weird. And the moment we did it, it was like, okay, this is something. Like, we need to keep doing this. So what do you rate the film at to achieve this effect?
So we try a few things, and around ISO 3, you get a good exposure. But this is something fairly new, so I think we're gonna just keep trying to find the sweet spot.
Yeah, cool. We sort of happened upon this effect and didn't know much about it, but it turns out that solarization and even this method of what we're doing dates back to like the very first photograph. Daguerre himself solarized an image with one of his first methods, and many photographers in the 1800s sort of discovered that if you overexpose an image to a certain degree, it actually like somehow chemically inverts the picture. And the mind-blowing thing, and we're gonna do this right now, is solarizing a solarized picture, which re-inverts the picture. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it like the first time you see it is just like, and you can't stop jiggle. It's just like, it's like absurd, but so much fun.
It's so nuts. It was like, how far can we go? How many levels can we go? And the Mint SF70 is a great camera to do this with because it's a manual camera. So it allows us to do, you can't really do this on a normal Instax camera. I don't know how you would. But on this, we can dial in our settings manually. We can attach an external strobe, and we're gonna blast each other.
Let's do it.
You ready to blast?
Solarize ourselves.
Solarize ourselves, let's do it.
That created a solarized print in which the original tonalities in the print are basically reversed, and it creates an amazingly silver-based image.
We have quite a bit of detail.
Yeah, it's funny because you're seeking information in the inversion.
Yeah, yeah. And my face has like, basically, like you can see all the detail in my face.
It's seriously like looking at a negative. It's so ridiculous.
So we're plugging in a wireless transmitter to our 8200 wireless strobe. The SF70 includes a 2.5mm jack right here, so we can plug in this transmitter. And this allows us to sync with our strobe and also control the strobe power from here. And what that's gonna let us do is it's gonna allow us to solarize, but not too much, because we want exactly the right exposure for the solarized image. And this portable battery strobe will allow us to carry it around, shoot here in the studio or shoot wherever we want, and make our solarized images.
Oh look, this is amazing. We can see the positive here looking at this app, and it actually looks pretty good. I mean, like the colors are a little off, but it makes no sense, but it's great. Love it.
Okay, we are now going to have Forrest take a shot of me, but I'm gonna be holding the solarized images. So we're gonna solarize the solarized images. We're going layers deep here on In an Instant. This is what it's all about. We are achieving maximum solar plane. Thank you so much to Forrest Burke for being my solar daddy. He is going to solarize me, and you only really have the people in your life you trust to solarize you.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be, it's a deep bond.
You have bony shoulders.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check to see if... Oh my God, it actually works. And I just don't know what to make of this. I feel like this is special. I'm not sure why, but it seems important what we're doing
seems like
here.
Nobody else is doing this.
It's,
we're
yeah,
really.
This is bleeding edge, cutting edge.
Fuji should be like paying us for research. This is
Yeah.
like R&D.
I honestly do believe we should be getting paid a lot of money for what we're doing here.
A lot of money.
Tens of dollars.
Yeah.
This is absolutely nutty business. Absolutely funny bones. Now we're gonna load Instax black frames into the SF70, which is going to invert the frame. What the hell? There was a box inside the box.
Yes, I don't know why these boxes.
The packages are solarized. Yeah, I would say sniff up the solar plane. Make sure you're really getting into there. Okay. So how does it feel to get blasted in the face like that?
Oh, I can feel the solar plane on my skin.
Yeah, the solar plane is actually very exfoliating.
So we are going to be trying to completely open the doors of the solar plane by overexposing a subject in the foreground, but with the background properly exposed for Instax. So we're gonna get a negative person in a positive background, and we're gonna invert it, and then it's just like, it will make no sense. But that's what we're for. 3, 2, 1.
There may be a permanent loss of vision today.
The wireless flash.
That is actually one of the, oh my God, that's the photo of the day right there, the last one we took. All right, Abel, Forrest behind the camera, thank you so much for inviting me to the solar plane. It's been quite an adventure.
It's been both fascinating and horrifying.
Yeah, really scary. Lost all vision entirely, can't see anything at all.
Yeah, but I mean, it was worth it.
Definitely, definitely worth it. I think I had a good run. Time to retire now and
I agree.
live my blind life. So I think maybe we should go back and talk a little bit more about how you might use this camera like a normal person would use it. All right.
Hi.
Oh.
Over here, Ben. Let's go.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that segment, and I hope that the solarizing movement really takes off as a result of this. It feels wrong, but that's sort of the appeal. So, like I said, the camera can be operated manually. Sure, there's an auto mode, there's exposure compensation for +1, ±1 for your stops, but the camera can also be operated via its manual shutter speeds and manual apertures, which is really useful. The shutter speed dial goes all the way from bulb mode to 1/500th of a second, and you can stop down to f/22, so you can kind of use this camera in broad daylight, but you're probably gonna want the ND filter set if you end up with a setup like this, which allows you to use the 800 speed Instax film outside, because that is a really fast film and really hard to shoot wide open without ND filters. So Mint has created a set for these cameras that adapt onto their proprietary filter thread system, which is a little bit annoying. I wish these cameras had thread mounts so that you could use any ND filter on here, but I appreciate Mint's trying to keep everything in-house and very well designed. And what Mint camera has done overall, I think, is very important. Their cameras are obviously very high-end, they're very expensive cameras, especially when you're thinking about the instant film market, but they're filling the void in a market that desperately needed a camera like this. In terms of my experience using the SF70, which I've been shooting around this area, driving from Seattle down here to Oregon, it's been an interesting experience. Basically, you can auto meter on this, like I said, there's an auto mode. I think this copy is defective because most of my shots in auto mode are incorrect. But the beauty of the manual exposure is that I can meter and nail that and really dial it in precise. So I've mostly been manually metering for shots that I like really care about. The other thing that takes some time to get accustomed to is the viewfinder. So the viewfinder is obviously separate from the lens. You're not looking through the lens when you're shooting with this. And as a result of that, framing can be a bit challenging. There are two sets of frame lines in the main viewfinder for composing. You're supposed to adjust towards the bottom right as you get closer to your subject. That can be a bit annoying, to be honest. I've found that in a lot of situations I'm cutting off heads, things just aren't coming out exactly as I envisioned, and that's sort of the beauty of the SX70 to me, is that I can feel immersion within a scene and know what I'm getting, especially a camera that's this high end. I hope Mint maybe can eventually work toward creating an SLR version of these cameras. The rangefinder is great. I love rangefinder cameras, but I would have preferred it if the viewfinder adjusted based on the distance of the lens. But it's been really fun to use. I mean, the quality of the lens is amazing. I think that cannot be understated. Being able to get such clear results like this on Instax, which is a amazing film that's rarely used to its full potential, is really nice. And that's absolutely the primary benefit of this camera. The other features probably worth talking about are there is a pop-up flash, which is really nice. Can be used indoors. You know, you got your little flash situations if you're a strobe bro or strobe gal. That is a nice tool to have. Being able to use this camera in essentially all conditions and shooting open at 5.6 is really nice, and being able to use the full range of the lens. The other thing that's obviously very attractive about this is the print lever. So when you take a photo, you crank a lever, which is just, I mean, look, it was something that on the RF70 I could not get enough of. When you hand this camera to somebody, they want to crank it. And I always say like Soulja Boy, but it's true. You want to crank that. You may look at the SF70, you may look at the price point, which is around $800 to $900, depending on where you buy it, and think, who is this for? Because instant film is not a professional medium for a lot of people. They look at it as an enthusiast, and from an enthusiast perspective, this is way too expensive. But I can say, as someone who is around professional photographers all the time, they are always looking for a tool that they can bring with them on shoots that they can sort of have as an accompaniment to their normal rig that can give them professional results. Instant film has become very sought after as an accessory to shoots. You see it all the time in fashion photography. It's really something that a lot of photographers want to have around because they know that it'll make their clients happy. I think that the RF70 and the SF70 are really great tools for that purpose. I think this is a professional camera. This is a high-end device, and I think it commands a high-end price. I mean, this is a very nice camera. It's new, nicely produced rangefinder camera that's gonna cost a lot to produce. And Mint is doing a lot of this stuff in-house, which is very impressive. And I think another reason that Mint is a very important player in the instant game. So would I have made some different decisions in designing this? Maybe. I wish it wasn't sort of an exact clone of the RF70. I really hope that Mint eventually makes a TLR for Instax Square. I think the TL70 is a very, very cool camera. It's one of the coolest cameras, I think, in general that's been produced in the last 30 years. So I would love to see that from Mint going forward. For now, though, if you are a photographer and you're looking for a nice camera to bring with you on your shoots, the RF70 and the SF70 are great options. Yes, you're gonna pay a lot, but you're getting a lot in return. This is a beautiful device. It turns heads. You can check out the pros and cons from the RF70 video to look at, exact, more specky kind of details, but I think that's my overall impression right now. Well, yes, we're certainly aware that JFK had multiple shooters.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's a known fact at this point. Yeah, it's
it's established at the very least in an instant canon.
Yeah, it is part of the it's some of the things that Edwin Land shared with us.
Yeah.
Is in the manual of the SX70.
Yeah.
All the information is there, or the plans.
There's a whole postscript about how he was positioned with the rifle, but then there was the second shooter on the ground. Yeah, grass. Yeah.